Welcome to the Monster Closetcast episode 2. This is our retro edition. I'm Rick, aka Guidi J.
Pat, aka P. Rowley.
And I'm Kel, aka K Dizzle.
And today we just wanted to talk about retro games. We all grew up playing games. These are the games we grew up playing. Another big thing we want to talk about today is the Retron 5. Kel here brought his over. And it does some amazing things. So why don't you tell us a bit about it, Kel?
I will gladly. Dude, this thing is awesome. I mean, I cannot be more happier with like a retro system that's like off market, than as old as having the classic ones. But I do like the classic feel still. But this allows you to have somewhat, that same classic feel, and then so much more. Remember playing the retro games on the old style TV, Rick?
Yes.
I definitely remember my NES.
I actually bought a tube TV for $5 from the Salvation Army to play Super Nintendo games, so because it can't hook it up to that.
Right. The newer TVs, you have problems. Are you just tired of just hauling that big TV around? Well, this thing lets you. This thing has the HDMI port, Rick.
HDMI, huh? Just plugs right in there.
Right. Yep, and the maximum outputage of this is 720, so it brings those old games. It fits the screen perfectly, and some of the games come out crystal clear. Some of the games don't work as well, but still are just as playable as the others.
So, I see we have all sorts of games around us. Some of them appear to be Japanese. This plays Japanese games?
Yep. With the Retron 5 here, it stays true to the name retro. You have to update it with an SD card provided by the website's updatable firmware, and all the updates are free, obviously, and it allows you to update the system. And one of those patches was a translation patch.
Oh, so so for instance, this Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
You translate this into English?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just buy the English version of the game?
Well, some people can't afford the English version because in the international versions, let's just face it, they're a lot of money. Some of these games are just ridiculously priced. Japanese games, however, I found relatively cheap online. Sometimes I can get them in bulk.
It's a pretty good deal. What all does this play? I noticed we have a Genesis controller. What is that? Super Nintendo controller?
Yeah. The Retron 5 comes with its own controller, and what's unique about it, yes, it's wireless. It's about the only thing that's wireless on the system. But as you can see here, the controller, it has a Neo Geo Pocket style joystick here. Some gamers like it, some gamers don't. I personally don't like it, but I also appreciate the old feel of the classic controllers as well. On the side ports, on the sides of the Retron here, it's got the side ports for all those classic controllers that you had a feel for growing up. Now Pat, take a feel of this controller. I mean, doesn't it feel a little cheap to you by their part?
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of sharp corners. It just doesn't feel comfortable to me. I'd be more comfortable using the NES controller.
Right?
Or SNES controller.
And the NES controller has some sharp corners.
Well, put your hands in this.
Kill a man with the NES controller.
No, it's rounded. Come on.
That's the SNES controller. That's rounded.
Yeah, NES is rounded on the top and bottom as well.
On the dog bone version, yes, the original version is a square. You could literally
Right, they
kill a
made
man
two
with.
different versions. So when the NES came out, the second style, the NES top loader, that's when they came out with the dog bone controllers.
The round sides actually do feel a lot better in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, that's another unique feature about this system. But
now, you can use any of those controllers with, say, the Game Boy games you have up there?
oh yeah, like if you prefer Sega controller over any other controller, let's just say because I'm a Nintendo guy, alright, this system has its own interface, and it allows you to collaborate the controllers Any controller you want, Sega. I wish I had a regular Nintendo controller to show you, but we should all know what that looks like. But it allows you to collaborate and choose any controller you want to play with any game.
So you don't have to be using the cartridge from the same system to use that controller.
Oh, that's correct.
That's a very nice feature.
It's a very awesome feature.
So what you're telling me is you default to the Sega Genesis controller.
If you feel more comfortable with Sega Genesis controller, you can default out to any game you want.
That's obviously his personal
Can I use the
choice.
GameCube controller for Smash Brothers?
Well, GameCube, if you had the Smash Brothers, for the GameCube, or if you had the new Wii U adapter for Smash Brothers, the current one.
That's sold out everywhere. I don't have the money for one of those.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Oh.
It would be nice to have. But luckily, we don't have this problem right here.
So, what systems does this play?
Oh. It's one of those. It's Hyperkin 10-in-1 Retron 5 here.
10 in one, you said?
Yes.
Alright, start listing them.
Let's go. We got Game Boy. We got Game Boy Advance. We got Game Boy Color. Which also, by the way, Game Boy Color, or the Super Game Boy games that came out for Nintendo, excuse me, we'll play, some of the games will play two-player Game Boy games that were designed for Super Game Boy. So that's also a nice feature, but we'll get into that later. So we got those three. Sega, Master Drive. Then we got Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, NES. I think I named them all. I think. What am I forgetting? We got Sega, Famicom, Super Nintendo, NES, Famicom, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color.
Let me ask you a question. I noticed there's 4
Oh, the other one.
Master System,
There we go.
which you need the power base converter.
Yes, the power. It does have this nice little shelf back here for that.
And now I noticed there's 4 slots on there. Does hey, it's okay, we all got cell phones. In fact, I should probably put mine on silent. Let me ask you this. What are the 4 slots? I see Super Nintendo. Obviously, the one in the back is the Genesis. Nintendo. Does Famicom and the NES have their own slots?
Yep, they share the same slot. And uniquely enough, you have to position it when you put, like these slots. The only thing this Retron lacks is an eject button. And,
Nachos and lemonheads. We like both of those.
Alright. We got... They're hard to pull out sometimes. I found the Super Nintendo and the Famicom slot, the same slot. It's easy to pull out. Sega Genesis, growing up as a kid, those were hard to pull out. No pull tab, no eject button.
I never had a problem pulling out, so it's okay.
NES had the eject button. Famicom. Did I have an eject button on the Japanese version of Famicom?
I don't think so.
Does
Famicom have its own port on there?
Yeah, it's the very first port.
And then NES is the second port?
Mm-hmm.
And then SNES/Super Famicom?
Is the third.
And then Sega Genesis / Mega Drive.
Mm-hmm. And Master System.
Right. And where do the Game Boy games go?
Right here in the front.
Where you would normally see a controller port on.
Where are the controller ports at?
We got them on the side here. This is player 1 side, that's player 2 side.
Okay. Now, speaking of retro, we'll sidetrack for a minute. We stopped by a store today that just opened up. We wanted to see if they had anything retro. I happened to pick up a Jungle Green N64 with the expansion pack and an Atomic Purple controller. And this is one of the original controllers. It's not third party or anything like that. And it's my riddle box. N64. Purple and green. I love it. But yeah, I didn't have an N64. It was $60. Couldn't pass it up. Also, okay, I guess this isn't true retro. I picked up Pokemon White, Pokemon Heart Gold, Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Black, and Pokemon Diamond for a whopping total of $40 today. Let me ask you guys something. When it comes to retro gaming, Pat, what is your favorite retro gaming console?
Really, I only know the NES, but going as far as the 64 and stuff
Yeah.
like that,
That's retro.
now it is. I would say PlayStation 1 had a large variety of games. It was good for me. I liked it.
I would agree with you, Pat. I mean, PlayStation 1 had a lot of titles really fast when it came out.
It didn't have a lot of competition, did it?
So, it one had the N64 and the Sega Saturn. Let me ask you, what is your favorite? Give me 2 or 3 games that you really liked from the PlayStation.
Let's see, Gran Turismo. Really good
that
game.
was my favorite. I love Gran Turismo.
What'd you like about Gran Turismo?
Just it was
the
probably
music, the
the
soundtrack made that game.
It did have a good soundtrack.
good soundtrack. The realism for its time was groundbreaking.
That was car porn.
Really, it was.
Like,
It
they
was in its own
took
right.
better care of the cars and designed the cars than they did the tracks. Like, if you ever noticed playing those games, those tracks were chopped to bits in rendering, but the cars look phenomenal.
They really did, and I think they went too far in the draw distance in that game.
What else? Give me 2 more.
Ooh, Crash Bandicoot had a lot of playability. The whole Bandicoot franchise had a lot of playability, especially in my household. And Twisted Metal, I think.
First one? I break it, I bought it.
But hey, these games last.
They are durable. Let's see. No, not the first one. I think 3 was my favorite.
Twisted Metal 3 was the one not made by David Jaffe, and then it was the first one not made by Jaffe. I think that was 989 Studios.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that the one? 3 is the one where there's a level. I want to say Chinatown or something, but I'm probably completely wrong. But it has a big fan blade in the middle of the level. It might not be in the middle. Oh God, I love being Spectre in that game. That game. Is that the one? Is 3 also the one with the pizza delivery guy? 3 might be my favorite Twisted Metal as well.
I mean, I remember Roadkill, Grasshopper, Thumper. All those guys.
I had a friend back when that game came out. He had to be Thumper.
How did you forget Sweet Tooth?
No, I know Sweet Tooth.
Ironically enough, I was always Sweet Tooth.
There's the characters that stayed with the franchise, and then there was the token characters for each individual edition of the game.
Man, Twisted Metal. That
was
brings
just one of those token characters.
Twisted Metal brings me back. That I don't think I've had as much fun in a lot of PlayStation multiplayer games as I have with that. And I think I really liked 3 and hate to go off topic here, but I heard a child that wasn't my child, and that kind of creeped us out a little bit. It sounded like it was coming next door.
Let's
All right.
hope so, Rick.
Anyways, well, I have a kid. But
Off topic.
that wasn't my child. Anyways. Twisted Metal 3, I think, is the one... It's not the one where Sweet Tooth takes over. So it's the one where you gotta fight the big police vehicle at the end, or government vehicle.
Yeah.
Man,
I do remember that.
3, I had a lot of fun with 3. 2 was good. Why was Sweet Tooth a hidden character? Why did we need codes for Sweet Tooth? That was just a little laugh.
Well, speaking of codes,
I can't do his laugh.
That sounded exactly like it, actually.
Speaking of codes, this lets you save codes in the SD card. It actually has a menu for cheat codes. Ironically enough, the people who made this, the company Hyperkin, were the developers of the Game Genie back in the early 90s.
I think
Pretty
a
impressive.
A few of our viewers might have those codes memorized anyway. But it is a nice feature.
A few of our views. We only have 2 of you. We know that. No. Okay.
Forever pessimist.
Back on topic of PlayStation games. What? Give me 3 of your favorite PlayStation games, go.
Well, I do like RPGs, and Chrono Cross is a good one.
I don't like RPGs.
No,
Unless it's this game.
I just like. I guess I like all kinds of RPGs, but I like other games too. That was a good one though. And I'm not about to get into Final Fantasy, although that is a good game. You know, that we'll save that for another topic. I did like Master Blaster 2 came out on that.
On the PlayStation?
1, yep.
I never even heard of it.
It didn't do so well, but it was one of those games that I really thoroughly enjoyed. You know, because I'm a Blaster Master fan as well. You know, obviously it came out on NES. If no one knew that or knows what I'm talking about.
I used to have a rap group called Blaster Master. I used to be in a rap group called Master Blaster.
Did I know you at that time?
We did.
I remember vaguely you talking about that rap group.
We wrote songs about Pat.
Yep.
It was great. 2008. Great times. What else?
I would have to say my last PlayStation game. I mean, I'm not going to mention Gran Turismo. You already mentioned it. I mean, which was one of my other favorites. So many choices, man. I mean, there's so many good ones.
There was a lot of good games on the PlayStation.
Right. It's like it's hard to already download. You know, I did like. God, man, it's. But you have to narrow it down to just 3. It's just.
I know.
Yeah, you know, like. Man,
You know, another good franchise that came out on the PS1, started on the PS1, was Metal Gear.
It didn't start on the PS1.
Well, Metal Gear Solid came out on the PS1. My mistake.
Metal Gear started on the MSX and NES.
My mistake?
Well, guys, I'm not gonna lie, but I would have to say the first Tony Hawk on PS1. I mean,
Oh wow, that was a great game.
I didn't really want to say it. I'm a little embarrassed actually by saying it, but that game also had a good soundtrack.
I think everyone agrees that game had a good soundtrack.
I mean, anything after 1, 2 was alright, but anything after 2, I don't know, man.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Tony Hawk 3 is probably my favorite Tony Hawk game. I really liked 3.
I really liked 1. That was my favorite one out of all of them, even the newer ones.
Alright, well, let me tell you, my 3 favorite PlayStation games. I'll start with number 3. My 3rd favorite PlayStation game. I have this all thought out. Alright, I'll tell you what's not on my list, but is a PlayStation game that I remember, and I don't know how many other people remember this, it was called P.O. A chef, an angry space chef, and one of the enemies was a butt with legs.
Butt with legs?
Yeah, I swear to God, it was a butt with legs. All it was a butt and then legs, and it shot little poo balls at you.
What?
Other than the poo balls, that reminds me of the show that used to be on Adult Swim called Assy McGee.
It was just like that, actually. It was weird. Alright, else off topic. PO'd was, every time I think of the PlayStation, I think of that game. That was really unique, I think.
I hadn't heard of that. That sounds like an interesting game.
Yeah. Let's see.
Sounds like a fucked up game.
Let's see. What did I like?
An ass with legs?
Yeah, that shoots poo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Aster Blaster.
That's what it was like.
Aster Blaster.
Exactly like that. Let's see. PlayStation games. Bushido Blade. No, I take that back. Bushido Blade was me. Tenchu. Tenchu is my number 3. Did you ever play Tenchu?
Is it a fighting game?
You're assassins. You're ninja assassins.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sneak around chopping heads off and...
Oh.
I think we're a good
Dropping
match. You
poison.
played all the titles that I never played on PlayStation.
Poison and ice balls
I
and
actually
stuff.
watched somebody play that game not knowing what it was until you said something.
Oh man, Tenchu. Please! Anyone who's watching this that makes games, make another Tenchu. And not that one for the 360 because that was terrible. Silent Hill would be my second favorite. Silent Hill.
It's a good game.
Great game. And I liked the movies, so take that. I know, those movies were poop, but I still liked them. Man, Silent Hill legitimately gave me the creeps and confused me. Like, I was scared and then confused what I was scared about. Like, Silent Hill made me question. I got done playing Silent Hill and I'm like, WTF?
You weren't even
Why?
sure about the F.
I wasn't. Why? Alright.
Questioning is questioning. I've never seen that before.
Me and a buddy were playing Silent Hill 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at this part, spoiler alert, you should have played Silent Hill 2 by now, come on. Where you're looking for a light bulb. And you find a can opener. And my friend goes, the light bulb's got to be in a can. And I look at him and I go, why would the light bulbs be in a can? There's no way the light bulbs are in a can. That doesn't even make sense. Well, lo and behold, we found a can full of light bulbs. Please, someone explain to me why there were light bulbs in the can. What is wrong with Silent Hill?
Who ships light bulbs in a can? It's a hard surface. They would all break. Was it padded?
No, that's Silent Hill for you.
Light bulbs go in cardboard. That's clearly obvious.
I don't
I know
understand
the
that.
game Silent Hill, but I have never really played it.
Alright, and my final PlayStation game, I'm going to go ahead and say Resident Evil 2, which is by far the best Resident Evil. And I'm going to go ahead and anger every Resident Evil fan and every fan of third-person shooters out there that's going to watch this. Resident Evil 4 ruined Resident Evil and would have been a better game had it not been called Resident Evil. I said it. I don't care. Code Veronica was the last good Resident Evil game.
I'm going to go ahead and change one of my titles. I'm going to get rid of Crash Bandicoot.
You can't change titles, man.
Him talking about Silent Hill reminded me of a very good game that I used to play all the time. I put a lot of hours into it. It's called Galarians. It's like a 3-disc game on the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
You go around, it's about this kid in a hospital, and they do something to him and he's got psychic powers. It can make people's heads explode, it can control electricity,
I remember you
stuff
playing
like
this
that.
game.
The graphics were off the hook for PS1. It's like I'd never seen anything like that before. That's why, partially why I put so many hours into it. It was a very good game.
Kel. K Dizzle.
Luigi.
Let me ask you, what is your favorite retro console?
Oh, well, I don't have to even say or stutter that one. It would have to be a Super Nintendo.
Give us 3 of your favorite Super Nintendo games.
Well, I'll start by the Japanese version of Donkey Kong. And yes, I could have got this the same price American, but with the box and manual and everything, crisp, clean, like this.
It looks like a VHS.
I know, take a look at that.
You just throw it on your shelf like this. Like, yeah, hey, Super Donkey Kong. Super Donkey Kong?
That's what they called it in Japan.
This was 6,980 yen, folks. Which is like, I want to say like $70.
I know somebody that
sounds
knows a little bit better knowledge on Japanese yen and the money
Right.
currency there. But we could probably look that up right now.
I think that would be more closer to 30.
I-
Myself.
You think that would be closer to 30? Alright, while I do this, let's hear the next one. What's your next?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. We got here Super Mario Kart. Now, speaking of pulling it off the shelf, I got this for a sale off eBay as well. It came with the game. Whoa. And a custom cart. And when I got this, I started looking up custom carts on eBay and stuff, and sure enough, there's a lot of people that do custom cases like this. It's like what Rick was saying. So you want to feel the physical media. You're that type of person that likes physical media, and you don't want to deal with emulators or anything like that. You just pull this off the shelf. You can read it. It's nicely displayed. It's got a nice picture on it. You know what it is, even though this is Japanese, but Mario Kart fans out there, it's all the same game pretty much.
Alright, not to interject. According to Google Currency Converter, 6,980 yen is $59.35.
So it's kind of in the middle.
So brand new in the international version, I don't think it was $60 back in the heyday.
I think Donkey Kong Country was actually one of the more expensive, closer to $80 when it came out here, because they had more memory.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bigger game. The more MB a game was, the more that cartridge cost. What would you say your third favorite SNES game is?
Well, my third favorite one. Let's see, going through here. Oh, yeah,
You don't have to have the game with you.
Oh yeah, I know, dude. But I mean,
You do got a lot of them. You got Chrono Trigger over here.
I know. I'm gonna pull that over here. It's a cross between, it's one of my favorite RPGs. My girlfriend actually turned me on to this game. I knew it existed. I never played it. I played the prequel was Chrono Crossing. Then Chrono Trigger was, or if I'm getting that mixed up, I always forget that. But this was the first game that was supposed to be a prequel or sequel to Chrono Crossing. And it mentions Chrono Trigger and Chrono Crossing, and back in the heyday, this was the game. This was the RPG game, Final Fantasy 2. But I don't want to get into Final Fantasy right now. Everybody talks about Final Fantasy, but I feel like sometimes Chrono Trigger, got left out in some ways, but later on, people recognized how good it was, and it picked up popularity.
Why don't you go through that stack of games? Let's see what you got.
Well, we got here NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Who didn't have fun with NBA Jam? He's on fire!
From downtown!
Heating up!
From downtown! Oh!
Yeah, you got it. Heating up! Boom shakalaka!
And now I will be doing all the casts for this channel because these two are going to be announcers for video games, doing voiceovers.
Oh, we could do it. We could do it. Alright. Good classic right there. Anybody remember Clay Fighter?
That game. Not the best, but it was fun. It was fun as a kid.
The 64 version was.
That's 64.
Yeah.
The sculptor's cut is worth some money. I wish I had that. You might want to set those down normally. You saw on the fall.
Right. But they're so adorable. Anyway. Well, I got here a Japanese version of Final Fantasy IV. We'll talk about that later. Killer Instinct!
Hold on. Before we talk about this later, what was this called here? We didn't get into this Final Fantasy IV, did we?
Final Fantasy IV.
Is that what it was called in America?
No, in America it's called Final Fantasy II?
That's so weird. Yeah, I think you're right. And then 6 was 3 here.
Yeah, something like that.
And then we jumped to 7. Why? You guys are weird.
I could call a Final Fantasy expert right now.
Phone a friend?
Phone a friend. Let's phone a friend. We're gonna phone my girlfriend Alicia, who is her knowledge of Final Fantasy is superbs. Anybody else's, I don't care who you are. All right, I don't care. This girl's got it going on with her Final Fantasy. We'll give her a call right now.
For those of you at home, if you can't hear what she says, I apologize. Kel will confirm it though.
Oh, she.
The Retron also makes a great phone holder.
Oh yes. Hey, how you doing? We're awesome. Hey, I got a question here.
Okay.
Final Fantasy IV. All right. In America, the international version was that Final Fantasy II. Final Fantasy IV that came out in Japan. The international version was that Final Fantasy II.
What do you mean the international version?
American version.
There's a couple Final Fantasy games that weren't released in the U.S. initially, like when they first came out for Super Nintendo.
Right, but
I'm not exactly sure which ones those were. I know it was like the early ones because it was like I want to say Final Fantasy IV came out in the U.S. as Final Fantasy II.
thank you. I mean, that's awesome. I wanted to be corrected here. I mean, I wasn't sure at first. I did say that first. But me and Rick and Pat were wondering that question, and I wanted to say I was almost right, and I hit that dead on. I appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I would have to double check on that fact, but yeah, I would say it was Final Fantasy II. That was actually 4 in the U.S.
Nice.
Pretty sure.
Okay, baby. Well,
Okay.
let me give you a call back here after this podcast here.
Oh.
And, well,
Probably ask if it's okay next time.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But this is good. This is awesome. So we got this
This is live television, folks.
right. All right. Well, thank you, baby, and I'll see you later.
Okay.
Love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright, now that awkward phone call is out of the way,
I'm not embarrassed at all. I love stuff like this.
my sidetracked friend here was also going to mention he has Star Fox with him, which, I mean, look at it, it's a fox.
Who doesn't like Star Fox?
In space, it's a fox. You know what, I'm gonna be honest, as a kid I hated Star Fox.
No.
64 was okay though.
But
Star Fox 2 is where it's at.
you have to play this on a 55-inch TV. You can play this on a 55-inch TV now with the capabilities of this. And surround sound, and not only that, Rick, has a sound booster on the interface. This is like an external emulator here.
I like it. Let's see that last game you got there.
Super Punch Out.
I'm gonna be honest, this is the game I didn't know existed until after the Super Nintendo era. I had no idea there was a Super Punch Out. I just knew of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Super Punch Out is fun though. I played it on my PlayStation Portable. On my PlayStation Portable. We're just gonna leave it at that. Okay? Don't ask questions. Alright, now on to my favorite retro system. My favorite retro system, oddly enough, is going to be the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast?
The Dreamcast. The Dreamcast had Jet Set Radio.
For shame.
I need another Jet Set Radio.
That would be nice.
And the memory cards had little screens, and you could play little games on them. So great.
See, I'd never had a Dreamcast and never knew that. You could play little games on the memory cards?
Yeah, little mini games. Dreamcast had Sonic Adventure. Oh, that game. That was back when Sonic was good. That was a good 3D Sonic. What happened to Sonic? Sonic is dead. Where's this? Now, he now at least wears a scarf. Yeah.
Sonic's becoming an old man.
Red's cold.
He's cold.
That's why he's
He's
blue.
cold.
Neck warm.
That's why
He's running so fast. It's too cold for this.
Knuckles looks like he's on roids now.
No, right?
Yeah, Knuckles was
The big buff arms.
Yeah, I
he's
wouldn't say
actually
big
terrifying.
buff arms.
No. Knuckles has big buff arms now.
Yeah.
Video game or cartoon?
Both. I will show you.
Whoa.
It's not just the gloves with the points on them anymore.
He looks like he's on steroids.
Now, honestly, what was Knuckles? Was he a hedgehog too? What was he? A weasel?
He was in China. He was something.
He was something. What?
Yeah. Knuckles buff now.
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles would be looking like John Cena.
John Cena.
Alright, I want to take this time and we're going to show off another product here. And this
What
one,
is it?
This is the Game Stick. A game store.
Hey, game store.
I won't say which one. Had these on sale for $17. And this is all it is. Looks like a little thumb drive. Stick it into the HDMI port. You can play really terrible Android games. What you want to do though is erase all that crap, put full Android on this, and you got yourself a mean little emulator machine. And by mean, I mean it's a piece of crap. Do not buy this. If this is free, tell them no.
Excuse me.
It can't. It doesn't stream movies good, as we checked today.
Yeah, it definitely was choppy. I mean,
Choppy, laggy. We tried playing Super Nintendo.
Could they pay you to take it off their hands?
I would think about it.
It'd have to be a high dollar amount.
Yeah, I would think about it for money. You'll get people that'll tell you it's worth it for Netflix, and it's not worth the trouble. No, it's not worth it. It's a piece of crap. Spend a few more dollars and get yourself a Chromecast.